All right, this is Pimp My Ark with EXE. You tell me where you want to start.
All right, let's take a look at your comms real quick, man.
Hey,
Let's take a
go-
dive into your comms real quick.
So, Plasma, Ira, and Han. Well, okay. This is my janky sister wolf. I put way too much leadership on her, so that it's going to be stuck forever.
Okay.
She's like a utility comm. I don't really use her all that often. This is just janky
Okay.
gear I threw on her.
All
My
right.
plasma is it's a farming plasma.
Farming plasma?
Okay.
Yeah, nothing really. It's just farm styles. Same thing with my Ira, just farm styles.
Okay.
Very little leadership. And I mean, he's got some sweet gear on him. I'm not super concerned about it. I just kind of threw it
Oh,
on there.
there's that shadow.
Hey, hold on. Wait. We're gonna get to the ambition. Chill. And then we got my Vega. Now we have the ambition. Are you happy? And then this is my main. This my Vega.
Famous formerly Cassiopeia attack Vega.
Yes, this is the this is the Cassiopeia Vega.
Mm,
All right. We're gonna
Can
Vega main. What's your
pause for
tech
us?
looking like?
Tech. So I'm transitioning into air. So my basic battle, my infantry and walker is completely done. My air is not yet. I don't have T8 because
Okay.
I'm not retarded.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Never
then
built T8.
or not developed. I mean developed's max, but let me start. So I do have force field. I don't see a point in getting exile right now. It's expensive for no reason. I don't have a point to it. I do have force field though.
Okay.
And then as far as advanced battle, I've got T10 infantry. I'm currently unlocking T10 air. I could unlock it if I wanted to, but yeah. So I'm not doing anything with Walker. I was gonna do infantry. Uh, Decided I don't know 2 weeks ago that I was gonna go air, so that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
unlocking that. And then currently my
Bad boy.
talents are currently my talents are I got two precise strike, and then I've got power of airships. Um, I don't know. So I've got 7,400. I don't know if I
Mm-hmm.
should awaken everything because I have the crystals to get to leverage, but that's about it. Or if I should just stay here and just up power of airships. But that's my
Leverage.
that's my
Get
talents.
level one talents don't scale. They upgrade flat. So
Mm.
value's not there in upgrading just one. Like whereas like hyperspace scales, it's worth it to upgrade one thing. The talent tech doesn't. It's all flat upgrade, and the cost scales. So it makes more sense to unlock level one on all of them than it does to push 1 to 5 and have the rest at 0. But then, like once you get to level one, maybe level two on everything, you push select one higher when you have more each. When you have more wormhole crystals.
Okay, yeah, because I could get all of two unlocked, and I mean I'll need to get more crystals, but then I do have the wormhole to get two leverage. I can unlock leverage.
Alrighty. And what equipment do you have to offer? I said that's so weird. Like offering up your equipment to the gods. Come on, man. Like,
Well,
what
here,
the
let
fuck?
me go. This way might be better. So, you got the equip pieces. Mainly, I've got my janky Sui and my attack gear leveled up. And then I've got other random gear at level like 10 or 20.
Mhm.
I mean, anything that's not on Vega, or Hancock, it's I'm not saving it for any particular reason. I mean, it could go, but then I've got my bot farm equipment. Some of it's 10, some of it's 20.
At least you're bot farming. At least you're bot farming.
Yeah, so I've got that. I mean, I've got to build that up more, but I do have some bots right now, not a lot. This is where I'm at with bots for right now.
Okay. All right. And how about blueprints? What do we look like on blueprints?
I don't have. I mean, I've got blueprints, but nothing particularly
Nothing in your friend.
close. Yeah, it's
Oh, you're getting close to Beetlejuice. 5 more of those, and you got that. I mean, as long as you have the crafting pieces.
What are your buildings?
so my. I'm working on gas right now, and then I've got Forge 22.
Okay.
So close, but
Still a while away.
I'm a ways away from T12 anyway, so I'm not really. I'm just trying to get Forge 22. Research 22 doesn't really do anything for me right now, so
Yeah. It's understandable. Yeah, that's the first thing. I mean, you definitely want to unlock Force 22. That way you can unlock, the ability to use that better equipment and everything. So, especially with, that all you can get a version 210 set out of the All Star shop for relatively cheap now, just for shinies. So, definitely want to start getting that in order first. That's top of the line. That's what you want to do. As far as your commander is concerned and everything, do you see, a little bit of areas of opportunity? What is your gem set on your Vega? Let's look at your Vega's gem set.
it's Gemini Canes.
Okay.
And then I'm using T10 infantry, so I've got a random Andromeda on there. I'm like 2 away from a Spirit Stone, I think. So I've only got the 2 sets.
Where's your AI?
Oh, I mean it's not on. So I unlock them all. If you are watching this, don't do this. I unlocked them all because I'm a YouTuber and I did videos, but I only put into my Pioneer.
Well, keep in mind that the higher level they get, the more expensive they are to scale. And if you happen to use 5 commanders consistently, it's not a bad idea to have one at like level, have them like one main, one then a secondary. Same way like you split your leadership. Primarily focus on one, then have one that's semi-useful, and then the other 2 at a level that's not completely useless. Like I went for level 20 on mine, and then my secondary is at level 35, but I'm pushing it to 40, and my main's at 70. Because like once you get into the 70 to 80 to 90 range, like a level 50 AI gives you 1 level of those. So it doesn't really make sense not to have 2 usable ones at that stage.
Yeah, I do 99% of my fighting with Vega.
Right, right. It depends. It depends on your leadership. Like, if you're not using 5 commanders significantly often, it doesn't help that much. And the new ones are kind of useless at low level, and they're both tank oriented, so they don't really have any utility use either. The first 5 that came out are all relatively useful in a way if you use them in the right places.
Yep. And as far as like, what you're doing and everything like that, I mean, you look like you're kind of in like pretty much in the right direction on what you're looking for as far as your level of play right now. Because I mean, you are running a T10 infantry attack Vega, and that's one thing you want to counter into and everything. I get you. So you want to start with the airship for as far as like when you're using your Vega and everything. I still would suggest the T10 for a while, just because of the simple fact that boosted attack is really good on T10 infantry. Yeah, you can get tier suppressed, but you still got a while to go for your airship anyway, right? So you got to
Yeah.
start there and build up. So once you get into better research on your, go ahead, Van.
Um, not to disparage, I would not personally recommend going for airships because you're going to have problems with broken fortress, etc., and ignore damage reduction. Airships just don't have that. You have to have high level formal lot to be able to have damage reduction using airships effectively. Because like Ellen, Lady and the Beast is kind of useless as
Mhm.
opposed to say King and Ira. The
True.
the further you go in the airship realm, without the advanced gear, it is much harder to utilize them.
I
Whereas
agree.
infantry have precise strike and vulnerability detection and puppet master comet czar as well as Fomalot, and they can run Ira and King. Airship doesn't have any of that. The only damage reduction you get is Reinhardt and Lady and the Beast, and no one uses Lady and the Beast for a reason. So I would keep that in mind as you progress. Like you can do airships, but if you don't get a foam a lot sooner than later, you're going to be pretty dead in the water.
Yep.
So
The later, the
yeah,
later, the
Either
later game
that,
you are. Like I don't know
either
what
that, or
at your
you're
level
going
if
to
you're
live on tank.
yeah like and you don't want to main a tank, especially as a smaller player. You do not want to main a tank. It's just stupid.
No,
no, it's not my play style.
So if you get a foam a lot, you can run that even on an attack Vega. That might be useful. Like you wouldn't have to have full pen, but you would eventually want to. But the thing is, if you ever push to that level and you want more advanced gear, a foam a lot's going to hold you back because it's 4% base pen as opposed to say 6. So it's harder to use. Airships just are not cheap. Like they're cheaper in that they cost gas, not cash. In that sense, they are cheaper. But like the gear levels, etc., are not cheap at all.
So
Infantry are just way easier to use for any smaller players.
my thought process, because so I unlocked my T10 infantry. I
Mhm.
started off as a walker main and quickly realized that I'm never going to be able to main walkers. So I decided to go to T10 infantry because I can use Vega, and with cheap gear, because I can't afford the high end gear because he has the built-in pen. I could use T10 infantry and get some stuff done. I mean, I can't win every fight, but I can do some stuff.
Yeah.
And then I thought about going with Ira because the T10 infantry go into the T11 infantry, so I'm not wasting resources. But there was like three, and I am very far away from T12. I can't spend the money to do it.
Yeah. Very
Uh,
good. Yeah.
so I thought about doing Ira, but there was like three GCs in a row where someone with absolute suppression completely crushed my Vega, which lead me to believe, well, if I get an Ira with T11 infantry and someone has absolute suppression, I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs.
Right. But then you got to keep in mind, absolute suppression is a utility build, but a lot of people don't run it. Like 99% of players in the game don't have an absolute suppression build. And that absolute suppression build is going to do the same thing to your Vega till you get to tier 12. And but with Vega, you also have to fight Broken Fortress, and you have no counter to that. It's an
Mm.
airship main,
Exactly.
Well, because
other than Foam a lot.
I first, where is it even at? Because I was thinking, switch to T10 or switch to air. I could use power of airships with my Vega temporarily. Because I'm 57 out of 80 to get DS. Switch to DS. Use her with like T11 air. I I don't know how to articulate it properly, but I'm trying to do the most amount of damage with the least amount of gear possible, because
Well,
I just
then
can't.
you're right to pass. then you're on the right path currently as you speak. Because if you're on infantry, as Bane's saying, you have those talents to ignore the DR already off top of the rip, off rip, right? And not only that, you can run a T10 infantry DS and wreck shit, dude, as long as you got some ignore DR in there, or because you got to think if you want to do it cheap way and everything like that, you got enough attack. You got the attack gear already, right? So,
Mhm.
I mean, you can run an attack based DS with T10 infantry until you get ready. I mean, T11 airship don't really hit a ton of hard. And then you got to think about your fourth skill combination. Like, what would you run as a fourth skill on a airship walker? Because your DSs aren't running best offense anymore. So what would you run as a fourth skill at that moment in time? So you're not getting that extra damage. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So technically speaking, I mean, if you're trying to do the most damage output at the cheaper route, then you want to definitely go stay on the airship. I mean, not the airship, the infantry side, in my personal opinion as well.
Yeah, because like I get that you want to hit all 6 slots. It's super annoying being an infantryman that you can't hit more than the 1 and the 2, which is why you have to
Huh.
do dodge and like utility counters. But straight up winning makes a huge difference. Whereas
Uh-huh.
doing plink 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 damage to 6 slots doesn't mean jack crap if you're not winning. Infantry is the only way a small player is going to win. It's the only way. Because if you don't have the gear, you're just going to bounce off whether you have that damage to 6 slots or not, because you're running into multiple different things that you have no way to get around.
Yeah.
DS is not a cheap main. She's great versus infantry if they don't run Broken Fortress, like for cheap builds, because they're squishy. But versus a tank, she will bounce right off. It doesn't matter if you're hitting 6 slots; you will do no
Mhm.
damage. It's ridiculous. You have to
Even
have
if you
a
have power
stat
of
ignore.
airship, that's not gonna.
You have to have defense ignore, HP ignore, damage reduction ignore, and airships don't have it. And the talents kind of generally suck for 1 slot bust overall. Like the power of airships is great, don't get me wrong, but like in general, the airship talents are also the worst ones for any non-tank main, essentially. Other than power of airships and maybe leverage, they aren't that great.
Yeah.
I'll say one build I've seen on T10 DSs and even T11 airship DSs is DS with sleep bomb, which does actually help against if you're someone and you have first strike and they're running broken fort, because if you could shut down their front and your slot 4 hits, shockwave does ignore the broken fortress.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but the implementation of canes and around and everything like that,
You got to get
that
lucky.
you got to get lucky is all it.
It's a decent build I've seen on DSs with T10 infantry.
Yeah. So like, even if you wanted to do, even on if it, so to counter that and everything like that, like even with if you're running a DS, for example, with T10 infantry, right? You can throw on your precise striker. You can throw on for the ignore Dior. You can throw on that fucking what's it, power of infantries and get an additional shot at crushing blow. As long as you're running the right fourth skill, you can actually do some damage that way as well. So I just think as far as like more utility wise and everything, and for a smaller player, I mean, trying to go T11, I mean the airship route. T10 airship, T11 airship don't hit that hard. They just don't. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
It's, that it, you got to put into a lot of work to get them to even hit as hard as they need. As hard as they need to hit to clear slots, and they just don't have that capability. I don't believe personally. You know what I'm
First,
saying?
infantry hits harder than T11 airship.
So what?
I said personally on DSs, I think T10 infantry hits harder than
Oh yeah,
T11 airship.
it does for sure. For sure, infantry has the highest base attack of the game. It's definitely 100%. And T10 infantry have a huge amount of attack. So yeah, 100%. And see, if you're trying to build it into a damage comm and everything like that, then that's the route you go. I mean, you don't necessarily you don't like Bane said, you want to be able to ignore that DRS and everything like that. If you're running power of airships and everything, yeah, you get a little bit there and get that coming in from the shockwave, but it's not totally enough to actually do a ton of amount of damage because you don't have that initial space attack with the airship route until you start getting to the higher end tanks like the T-12. So
Not only that, but T10 infantry has a random crit effect. They're broken, so they will randomly crit even with crit with it. Going up against crit with it. I don't know why that is, but T10 infantry is the only one that.
So, in that case, do you think it would, for my account? So I can't run a tank not because it's boring, but I can't afford the heal bill. Like, you know what I mean? So I
yeah, of
gotta
course,
try
I
to
know.
find
Tank is tough. Tank is really tough. So yeah, no, I understand 100%.
yeah. So I need to focus on like one slot bus commanders. So do you think I
Then you need to
should?
focus on damage commanders. You need to focus on your damage commanders if you want to focus on one slot bus commanders for sure.
Why
So,
why don't you go with a ghillie like me?
Because Vega is better than Gilly? I mean, no. To be honest, like if I'm using T10 infantry,
Take that back, Diana Berry.
Vega is just a better Gilly. I'm sorry, but he is.
You lie.
It's okay for you to be wrong, Grinch.
Well, I mean, I'm
It's
not
okay.
wrong, but
It's okay.
how much?
Not only is Gilly better, she is also more hot.
Yeah,
So
how much free pen
yeah.
does Gilly have at max level? Is it 100%?
It's 90. Vega is
Oh.
100 with 20% extra base damage. The difference between the two is obviously Vega can't use infantry past tier 10, whereas Gilly can. And also Gilly has that preemptive is just huge. Preemptive is massive. Like people don't understand how much difference a useful first skill makes. It's massive. You could do so many different things with Gilly that you can't do with Vega. Granted, though, for one slot bus pure straight up damage, there is no pre-pen commander better than Vega. That's a fact.
yeah,
But
facts.
overall usefulness, um, I would totally put Gilly up there above Vega, especially
agree.
if you have to continue to advance down one path. Vega's just gonna drop off because you can't main an airship commander as an infantry troop.
Right.
You just can't.
Exactly. That's why I said you're on the
Which is
right path right now. You're on the right path for your level of play. You're on the right path because once you start developing into your techs and you start increasing down your infantry line and stuff like that, then you get into your T11 infantry. Then you can start thinking about switching to your T12 infantry. Then you can start thinking about switching to your ghillie or your fellas at that point. But right now, you're running the right stuff for what you have. I just would not venture down the airship tree if you're trying to go the damage route unless you're trying to go all the way to T12. And you said it yourself, you're a long, long way away from T12. So as far as
Yeah.
effectiveness wise, you would be straight up on you'd try more use out of the utility. More utility and more use out of the infantry side, if you ask me.
yeah, like my best friend Raj. I guess not my best friend, my best in-game friend. We go way
Mm.
back. Anyway, he's free to not free to play, but low spending nowadays. He spent a bunch back early on, and he's airships, but he struggles a lot. He's got full pen, etc., and he mains DS, but he struggles a ton because you just can't get around the advanced stuff using airships. It's not a cheap way to do it. He'd be way more effective if he was infantry right now.
Yes.
And he's got the gear, like not the advanced gear, but like what 2 seasons ago was premium. He's got it, like the V2 pen. He has it. It's just not enough as an airship main. You just bounce off. You have to have formula and high everything. It doesn't work otherwise.
Hmm. So then, do you think for my account and like what I'm trying to do you think I should just eat the 20K that I put into T10 air, continue down T10 or continue down infantry, switch to DS when I unlock her, or should I just forget about DS?
I would forget about DS. I would stick with Vega at T10. I don't know what you mean by 20K into tier 10 infantry. You have to
The
have
the UC that
all
I
the Right, that UC can just go towards tier 11 infantry. You're not eating anything.
Well, no, I've
You
already
haven't
started.
lost it
I've
until
already,
you.
yeah, I've already started the
He's
research.
already started it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, you can run because infantry don't have a tank option,
hmm
so you can run Reinhardt or something for your like me. I've always recommended someone have a tank because if you're in peak all star etc., having a tank at 200 300k lead is just something you kind of have to anchor because you have to be able to cover at least 2 slots, 2 columns in all star. You have to be able to have 2 3 useful commanders in peak, star C, etc. So if I was you, I would maybe work towards building like a Reinhardt or something up that you can run with tier 2 because it's not that expensive to build tier 10 airships per se because you can do it a lot. You can get gassed rather easily.
Oh, I mean, let's not forget that T10 airships are good on Sister Wolf versus Roaches. So
Well, like you could do some things with tier 10 like tank wise. I just would not bother trying to main them in any meaningful way. Like because they're reasonably easy to make a full march for a smallish like 300k lead full march isn't too hard to get long term.
My
And
my main,
if you have absolute defense,
which I don't.
um,
Mhm.
right, so that's a long term thing. You're gonna have to eat that cost, yeah, but
Mhm.
you can use it later on.
Okay.
But
Absolute defense is easy to get.
you don't
Like
necessarily. But
it's a little
like
bit
we're
it's a
saying,
little bit
don't go
unfortunate.
down the tree. Yeah.
But you haven't really lost much, just that 30k HC. And thinking long term, you would have unlocked them eventually anyway.
Yes.
So use my Vega with T10 until I can unlock T11 infantry, and then
And
switch
then
to Ira
it depends on the gear you have at that point. Neko or Gilly probably.
at T11
Yeah.
infantry.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like it.
If you
The
don't
tier.
have the
The only
sweep in
difference
set,
is,
yeah.
yeah, if you don't have the plan, Ira and King aren't going to be that useful. You can get more value from having precise strike on your main troop type. Actually, like you might even end up using tier 10 infantry more often than the tier 11 till you get till you start pushing tier 12. Because like tier 11 aren't cheap. They're a lot of
Yeah.
UC. So by the time you have that, you should have most of the HC to get tier 12 anyway. At which point you'll start converting to tier 12 and push your army that way, and then use tier 11 infantry as your utility troops.
Yeah.
Because tier 11 is not cheap. It's hard to get to tier 11.
Uh-huh.
I would assume that if you're working towards tier 11, you're going to have HC stockpiled by that time, assuming you're not converting your HC, which you should not be doing.
Too
Why
late.
do that?
Yeah, if you have HC, do not try to convert that to UC. Not until you have tier 12 unlocked. Just don't do it. Save it.
I mean, if you've done it, it's also not really hard to get it back, right? Like
HC is largely a free resource as you're collecting
Yes.
things. If you buy packs,
yes.
if you spend gold, if you're in an active guild, HC will come to you over time.
Uh-huh.
Just
Collect
do
that shit.
not turn it into UC until you no longer have a use for the HC, because you will
Exactly.
need a lot. You will need a lot of it when you get there. It's
Yeah,
like
like
what?
90,
It's
90,
90k,
90,000. Yeah.
90k plus
That's
to get just to unlock the club. But then you have to
it's
push
the same
hyperspace
same
levels and all that.
cost. Yeah, it's the same cost to go from 1 to 5 in a T12 as it is to do a T13 or a T12 plus or whatever you want to call it. The next level, it's the same cost.
Right. So for future reference, do not convert HC. Save it.
Yeah. Please don't.
It will
Save
take
that
you. It'll
shit.
take you longer to get tier 11, but that does not matter because
Nope.
if you get tier 11, then you're stuck there for 3 years because you ate all your HC. You're gonna be sad.
No.
Okay, so
But yeah, if you don't have the sweep in set, then you would definitely you would still end up using your guild. You would like you said, you'll end up still probably using your T11 and T10 infantry more than on your your ghillies or your Vegas or something like that until you get closer to T12. To be honest with you.
But still, once you get to tier 11, like Vega and Gilly both hit not Vega. Neko and Gilly both hit hard, so you can pick one of
Yeah.
them. I prefer Gilly. Neko definitely hits way harder, but Gilly's just more useful in different ways.
Hmm.
So then, would it even be worth it for me to, I mean, obviously unlock T11, but would it be worth it for me to even build any?
Yeah, because like tier 11, once you start getting
Use your
full
T10.
pen, once you get full pen, you're gonna want to run Ira. If you're the cheaper you play you are, the lower risk you are gonna want to do. So you're probably gonna want to main Echo. You probably will end up using the tier 11 more than tier 12. Plus, they have great use for Sui and Liz on Hancock and Sister Wolf. They're massive for that. They're just a very useful troop type to have. Like
Yeah.
it depends on how you do it, and if you start spending more, etc. Like me, I still have almost a full slot of tier 11 because I run several utility comms, etc. And I don't have full slots tier 12 yet either. You're gonna use both.
Yeah, I mean, getting the sweep pen isn't that difficult. Like, I'm saving super equipment chests. It's just
Right.
Right,
waiting for
but
the.
getting effective levels is difficult because
Exactly.
sweep
Because with the
sweep
sweep
pen
in, you have to.
below 40 is not a thing. It does not do its attack is better than sweep pen below 40. The only value that it gives you is the utility from the sweep. Till you hit 40, like 95% pen, I think is where it's at. You're not getting as much value from sweep pen as you are from attack, which is why
Those,
every single time someone says something stupid like 30 sweep set work or 30 pen set works, I'm like, no, it does not. Use Gilly, use Neko, and use attack gear. And then once your sweep pen set is pushed up to 40 alongside of it, then you can eat it into her, or even just keep building it up by itself and keep the other one as a secondary. Like, that's what I did. It's a bit more expensive though.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna take me a minute to get there. Like, I'm gonna have more bots. I don't know. I have not upgraded my Vegas gear in like 4 months. It's pretty much.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
if
should stop
if you have the
upgrading
bots,
it.
push it to 40. Push it to 40
Okay.
because like your pen set's not going to be useful till 40 anyway. And once you get there, you have to absorb 40 equipment to get the 45 bots. So it makes sense to push the gear to 40 because even if you decide to eat it, that'll go right under your sweep pen set and push it almost to 100%. That'll get
okay.
one piece to 45.
And your ambition being at a higher level as well, it will be useful even if you do when you do start switching off that set. So it's all go ahead and switch
Right.
everything to 40 for sure. I mean, because you got to
Yeah,
think. I
like
mean,
start with the Titans, then the Ambition, then Overlords, and do Dev Helm last. But you definitely want to push that gear to 40 because it's going to be there for a while before you
Hmm.
get the pen gear in a
yeah,
useful situation. Just maybe don't put energy stones, Geist and Spear stones on any of the gear you don't plan on keeping long term. Like maybe throw one on the Ambition because you probably will keep that,
Yeah.
and possibly the Overlords. But like, don't throw any on the Titans. The most I would do is put one in the helm, pants, and chest so that you can get 2 4-piece and 1 5-piece set that way. And then you will have to eat 1 or 2 of them, so you'll lose 20 frags that way. 20, 40 frags, depending on how many pieces you decide to eat. But if you're going to stay there for a while, it's worth having three gem sets on that.
What is the difference between him upgrading his DevHelm to 40 and me and you telling me not to upgrade my DevHelm to 40 on Gilly?
I said upgrade it last.
For me, you said
Also,
don't upgrade
also,
mine at all.
well, because generally speaking, I don't recommend Dev Helm as a. I would rather have a red pupil on Gilly personally.
Is it just because it's infantry?
No, it's because of the stats. Like Dev Helm is just so very meh. It is the way to get maximum damage from a defense ignore build. It's the only way to get damage from a defense ignore build because there aren't really any attack pieces other than Dev Helm. that are in any way useful. But the piece itself overall sucks. And on Gilly specifically, you can get a lot of value from dodge and accuracy, which is why I said red pupil because preemptive works well with both because it lowers enemy dodge, so it works well with your accuracy, and it blocks gems, so it works well with your dodge. It's just generally speaking, I don't like Dev Helmet. I hate it. But if your goal is nothing but damage, Dev Helmet is not the only option for low level. And when I say you push it to 40, that's also with the full intention of eating it into his pen set because you are not going to keep that there.
Because that's
A red pupil will you could use a long time. Like red pupil doesn't run out of value at plus 40 because you can run it on different things. Also, red pupil is good for like the Hancock build, etc. For endless. There's a lot of value in red pupil,
What
and
is
Deathhelm
the
has
endless Hancock build?
red pupil, fire spirits, titans, ambition / void,
Oh,
dodge, accuracy, attack with RWE for certain
I- I've
circumstances.
I've been waiting for the next endless because I was told to you just put my Gilly's attack gear on Hancock and I would do a lot better
Right.
than just putting
It
my
depends.
Hancock in front and one slot busting with my Gilly in slot 2.
Yeah, Hancock with dodge, damage primarily, and then you're gonna want accuracy for certain enemies. That can be a lot of things. If you do some finagling, you can get quite far with a 20k a level. Gosh, A class Hancock, you can get pretty
That's
far with a
good
20k.
because I got 80,000 pretty
Yeah, you
much.
if,
So,
but
so
do you
I
have the
should I
leadership?
should I should be good.
Do you have the troops though? Because you do need all of the slots filled
I can fill his slots. His slots
with
with
tier
I got
11
no
infantry.
no.
Right. See, you'll have to do some weird finagling with dodge. Like you might have to put tier 11 in the front and then fill up the
Yeah,
back slots. Tier 10 walkers,
that's what I
something
ended
like
up
that.
doing with Gilius. I was putting the I had phantom pants before I recycled them, so depending on what I was facing, I would have my ambition and phantom pants, or I would have void, just my void and overlord, and I would put the tier 11 up front, and then my tier 10 in the back and dodge, and that's how I would get past some of the harder
Right. Yeah.
enemies.
So the damage increase helps lower the required barrel triggers to go nuclear, and then dodge is obvious why you want that, and then accuracy because some of the enemies like plasma, if you miss them, you'll die that way before you go immune because of energy transfer stuff like that. So like the red pupil titans, fire spirit slash and fire spirit with ambition / void is probably the best utility set there is. Like for medium low, I mean it's not low for like medium level play. Even high level play, it's a great utility set because you can run it on Sister Wolf to counter Reinhardt. You can run it on Hancock for endless. You can run it on any infantry commander for secondary, third set, whatever. It's not like top tier for that, but it's useful in that way.
I agree.
So am I pretty much only missing the quantum module for Sweet Pen?
Yes. If you can get a ruthless, I 100% highly recommend doing so. But
Especially if you're planning on
but
maining Ira.
right, but
That's
it
not
is much
craftable, is
more
it?
expensive. No. It's an event. Well, it's a craftable, but you have to have event pieces to craft it. It's a high end piece. It's
Yeah.
not cheap. It's hard to get, but if you saved up, you could get one. And if you could get one, I would highly recommend doing so. But that is not a need because you can run Sweet Pen with just a quantum module, and those are easy to get.
Hmm.
Yes. I agree. 100%.
But like I main Stella, and the difference the trigger rate makes is just so unbelievably massive. Especially like you could run that on Hancock as well with the utility build. You can throw that on a lot of things and it's just more useful. Whereas the quantum module is the same thing without the trigger rate. The only time it's better is specifically plasma.
Yeah.
Because
So does
but like the cost comparison though, for just straight up for pen and sweet, you can
You
easily
can,
get a quantum module for cheap.
yes,
Is-
and yes.
is
100%.
Ruthless one of the pieces like you have to spend money to get?
No, if you get the ether coins, you can do it for free over time, but it would take you a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a while.
You would, yeah, that or like, I think you were the one that said you were buying what are those star seed metal pack
Metaverse
things?
coins
Yeah, that. You could get it that way over
over
a
time.
period of time.
So what they started releasing 10 blueprints last time, right? So I know they normally went 5 blueprints per, but now per 100. So now I think they're doing 10, right?
I have no idea. For Ruthless, I have no idea.
I think it went last event. It was 10, if I'm not mistaken. Last time I seen
I
it,
don't remember it being 10.
it could have been
For
5 or
for
8. It could have been 8. It could have been 8.
for advanced utility sets, like my Stella build, what I use on my Stella is so multi-purpose. You can run it on almost any utility con. Like I could throw it on Ira, I could throw it on King, and still miss a significant amount of time because I run a dim light, so I only have one alcade. You could throw it on Sister Wolf, and it's perfect because you get trigger rate in the pants, trigger rate in the helm, ambition chest, please. And it's exactly the same thing as like the Lucky Nodding Fire Spirit build, except for you're
Mm-hmm.
exchanging the Lucky Nodding for full pen with a Ruthless.
So
There's just massive value all around from that helm. It's the only thing about it is it's kind of hard to get, and it's not. It doesn't ignore damage reduction, so it depends on your build.
so when I'm leveling, so pretty much I'm just missing the helm, basically.
Right.
Now, should I
Right.
be
And the
leveling?
chest.
Well, I have the chest.
He has him.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. You
Yeah.
have that on Vega, right?
So should I be focusing exclusively on leveling up my Vega gear, or should I be trying to level up my Vega and Hancock gear at the same time?
I would do Vega first. I would just get Vega to 40 because you're going to use that until you swap the pen,
Mm-hmm.
which is also going to depend on your troops availability, etc., etc. Because you already have the troops that you can run on Vega / Gilly.
Yeah.
And your gear is already halfway there. I would push that to 40, and then I would start working on the sweep pen gear and push that to 40. And once that's at 40, I would eat the Vega gear or most of it into the sweep pen.
Okay. So level up the Vega gear. Try to get the Ruthless if
Maximize
I
your value.
can.
Maximize value right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw you've got quite a few bots that you could be using right now on the bag.
Yeah, I could. I didn't really know exactly where I was going, so I default to save instead of using them.
Right. Yeah. No, always
And
go
then
for
A bad
immediate
habit, but yeah.
value.
Yeah.
Because if you go for immediate value, assuming that you're going to eat that gear later on, you're still saving.
yeah.
Whereas if
So
you're saving it on a piece that you're not using, it's just sitting there doing nothing.
if I'm not going to go for Ira, I don't need these 8 commander cards, and I get honor medals, just daily for free, as well as from 7 pirates. Should I be buying these 30 bots? Should I be doing
No, hell no. Primary AI.
so? Buy the 40 bots.
Yeah, 40 bots always. Oh, that's loud. All Star, you want 45 bots, and World Event, you want 40 bots. That's generally speaking, what you want. And that's assuming you don't go for Ira, but really you probably don't have to use A-class tokens from World Event to get Ira S-class over time anyway. You're going to get free A-class tokens.
Yeah.
It'll take a long time, and then they'll probably come out with an event that releases her more often. I feel like. Plus, even so, you don't have to use Ira. You could use King.
True.
King is also very effective as well.
Actually, King's probably better as a main straight up because Ira doesn't hit hard enough versus the high end
I said
stuff.
that too. I said that too. I thought that too. I really did. I do like Ira. Don't get me wrong. But as far as like when it comes to doing more damage, like King just cleared more slots when I was in my testing phase between the two of them. Just because of the
Right,
simple
like
fact that he did more damage. You know, more base damage.
Ira is the counter. Ira counters infantry hard because they're
Oh yeah.
squishy, and you hit 3 slots, so it's way easier to kill squishy enemies with Ira. But she just lacks the oomph of King versus the more sturdy ones.
Exactly. I agree. Now, Ira's a good con. Don't get me wrong. I love Ira, but King is still.
Yeah, like ideally,
Yes,
I would probably main King, and I would have Ira as a utility comp because you can throw the same gear on her at
Yep.
20k, 50k, 100k, and throw that in cap battle versus the squishy enemies.
Yep. Exactly.
Or use King at max lead because really Ira doesn't need max lead to beat those cap battle marches.
No.
Okay, so use Vega for now.
Mhm.
Switch to who? Neko at T11.
But depends on if you have the equipment for a sweep in set and you can get the levels high enough.
Well,
Because you can get the sweep in if you have the sweep in pin set by the time you have by the time you have the T11 infantry ready to go. Because you know it's still going to take you a while to build the T11 infantry army anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, once by that time you should be able to have an obtainable, at least a good enough level sweep in set to be effective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would personally stick with Vega with the T10 infantry, for now, right? With the
Mm-hmm.
attack until you was able to get over and build your sweeping up set up in the background. Because what you want to do is when you get your quantum module order, whichever one you go for, you're going to want to build, start boosting them levels in that because that piece does require pretty high level to be effective, right? Then you want to go into your, obviously wild roses, get them their levels up for that extra damage, attack, everything. So I mean, it's gonna take time to finish building that up. So for right now, if you want to run effectively, Vega with a level 40 set, just base everything to 40, will be your good path to go with. I personally feel like myself, or Gilly, but yeah.
Can we see your overall stats for Vega
What do you mean? Oh,
for your attack stat? I was just curious how much attack you had on that since
the Titans they're not perfect, but they're nice Titans.
yeah, I spent quite a few Titans perfecting my Titans on my Gilly. But I have over 900% on attack. Just the difference is crazy. I would not have expected you to have just 765 for
Fuck
total.
Well, also going to include the 80% and everything, but yeah. What are your gyms looking like right now? We only got 2 sets of gyms anyway, so that's another thing you got to think of as well. You probably have a little bit more gym sets that are right as well, but, right?
Yeah, they're so on him right now is Gemini Canes.
Oh yeah, let me. I want to actually look at your gems though. So go back to your equipment real quick. Click that. All right. No, go back. Go back where you was. That's fine. I can do it from there.
You want the?
Click on it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
want to see. Click on your equipment, please. Like go back to your main and click on your equipment, please. I want to see what you're actually like running on towards gems are concerned. Go down. Go down. And go to your overlords. Okay, so as far as the crit gems and everything like that, what's the purpose of the crit gems being there over your attack gems? Here
I like for the helm.
for the helmet and the weapons,
I
you got a
think
crit gem there, and you got a crit gem
so. The helm.
in the helm.
I'm pretty sure I just didn't have an attack gem. Pretty sure that's what the reason for that is. And I didn't feel like re-rolling.
I got you. I was just curious because I would generally speaking, especially if you're going into high damage factor and everything like that, you're going to want to boost all your damage as much damage as possible. So you can replace some of those crit gems for attack gems and everything like that. Get some pretty high level attack gems in there, and you'll still have a lot of fun with that. Over crit because I don't think.
Yeah,
Crit,
I just didn't have
okay,
an
it's just
attack
not
gem.
there. Yeah.
I mean, I could re-roll
Fair
if I wanted to. I was lazy.
Having better gems is a huge upgrade. It takes a lot of resources, time, and effort to get good gems, but you definitely want to.
Yeah.
The best way is try not to inlay anything that's not 25% plus for green. Don't inlay anything that's not 40% plus for blue or 2.5% plus for the blue specialty gem.
Agree.
And never use one that isn't the right stat. It's a waste of resources. Unless you've got like a bazillion of them, you can throw one on there temporarily. But you always want to try to get 25% plus and 40% plus of the correct stat. It makes a big difference long term.
Yeah, I was just honestly I was just being lazy and I just threw one in there.
Bad streamer. Bad.
Hey, I got videos to edit, okay? So I'm just kind of throwing gems in there.
Yeah, like Cassiopeia.
Yes. So here's the thing though, like I understand that Canes is expensive. Do I really need it?
It's on there now already.
No. Yeah, you've got it
Okay.
already, so I wouldn't bother changing it. Like straight
Yeah.
up, no. Canes blocks enemy force skill, which is only going to be useful versus, say, another infantry comm that runs wings. So, like, it's good versus kings and iris and stuff, so that they can't just steamroll through you with wings if you don't have first hit. But then again, they have power of infantry; they're still probably going to kill you with one hit.
Well, here's
You
the thing.
got,
He's a
you got
damage
the
based
strategic about it.
comm anyway. He's a damage based comm anyway, right? So like no there's no need for it at all, to be honest with you, because you're a damage based comm anyway. So like you're squishy as fuck. You're gonna get fucking hit regardless. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you because your T10s, you're not gonna have enough dodge. So not necessarily. I mean, it would have been like, but you already have it there, so don't fuck with it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do not fuck with it because you already have it there.
Right. Like, once you get to Ira and King, assuming that that's who you decide to main with a sweep end set, there's very few sets that are useful as a whole set. So Kane's is great there because it provides value where a lot of full sets you can't use. Like, you can't use guaranteed hits. But for like one slot bust type deal with a guaranteed hit built in, where you want other guaranteed hits, you want to go Gemini, Sagittarius, Andromeda every single time for infantry. First 3 sets. 4th set, then you and Canes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because like
you gotta maximize damage, maximize guaranteed hits, and Andromeda is just massively useful because of the pen and the high stats and the shutdown can help a lot versus select tanks. Canes doesn't really provide value except for in defensive sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't block any passive skills. It doesn't clear anything that's going to make them harder to kill.
mhm.
But I mean, like I said, you already have it there and everything like that, and you already had some gems laid on it already. So that's the thing. Just you already had those there. But when you start unlocking more gem sets on this particular set, if you are going, just make sure you add in at least another guaranteed hit, such as what Bane's suggesting. Now, as far as your sweep in set and everything, if you're going to be focused on building the sweep in and everything, then Canes can't, like you said, Canes has a very good purpose there, across the board, especially on the sweep in side of things because they don't have that fourth skill. You're pretty much, they're not doing the damage thing. You're not doing this. They're not doing that. They can't shut you down. It's really nice to have Canes on a sweep in set. Personally, I feel like so.
Oh, it's also good for like dodge builds if you're running preemptive and such. So, like if you ever did use Gilly over Vega, Canes is great with Gilly because preemptive and Canes basically any commander without a guaranteed hit or a way to block your Canes. If they can't hit you, they're just sitting there for the first round.
Yeah, and in all honesty, I mean, to be honest with you, even when you hit the Z12 and everything, you can still run a Gilly with attack gear and still can be pretty damn solid. I'm just saying. So I mean, Canes is very effective in that aspect as well. So
Yeah, it's just the only problem is like once I get up to like T11, like I can't afford like 2 sets of gear. Like I gotta pick one and just ramp it up as high as I can possibly get it.
no, totally understand. Totally understand. So you'll get more use and more utility out of a sweep in set than the attack set in the long term goal. Just to be honest with you on that. But you can still run. People still sleep on Gillies, especially smaller plays. You can still run a Gilly with T12 infantry with an attack set and still kill some shit. You won't kill meta stuff. You won't. That's for sure.
Well, I don't now,
But
so
not every exactly, and not every player's meta anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's just you can still run effective. It still can be effective, but you'll definitely get more usage out of your sweep and set long term future goals and future aspects of it.
Yeah,
That's
there's
my personal
basically
opinion.
two cheap options: is sweep pen or a formula and work it into your attack set over a dev helm or a red pupil.
I'm very
But
That is what
but
I
long
am
term,
gonna do.
a formula is 4% base pen, so you will have a hard time getting to 100% to maximize your damage after the initial benefit. So it's kind of a downside to it. Whereas sweep pen is straight up value instantly.
mhm. I mean, I am 69th. Like, I fight and I can catch people sometimes because they underestimate my Vega, but I think I have a better understanding of where I need to go and just ditch the airship. Stick with
I mean, I'm
infantry.
not saying this is 100% totally and everything like that, but the thing is, like, you're not going to get the effect that you can out of the usage out of it that you can on the infantry side as being a smaller player and being a player that doesn't spend very often, if at all. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's just because it requires, like Bane said, it requires more high end gear, and T11 and T10 airship just don't hit hard enough to to outweigh using T10 infantry and T11 infantry.
So then, with my Vega, then obviously I would want to switch to Power of Infantries, just for that extra attack, right?
Precise strike.
Yeah, I was
Precise
gonna say
strike.
I don't know.
100% precise strike. If I was you, I would try to continue down the infantry talent tree, unlock them at level 1, because they have tremendous value. That second tree there, Purifying Barrage and Power Shot, both for level 1 use, and then everything after that, max precise strike. Power of Infantry can work at level 1, even on Ira and King when you get there.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be upgraded. I mean, you want it upgraded, but yeah. But till then, And for everything other than them, precise strike.
Pretty
Huge.
sure I've
If you
already
at
got.
level 5, that's the same as a formula. 10% damage reduction ignore. It's massive.
Pretty sure I already have that on my T10. Oh. Got some lag going on. No, I've got vulnerability detection. I should switch that then, right?
Yes.
Yo, I just got some nice kills.
So then, third slot, when I get to it, what would I want to pick?
Fucking
For
drive.
power shot.
Drive.
Power shot?
Yeah, because you're using wings. But like your talents are going to change a lot once you get tier 11 unlocked. And if you run King and Ira, you're going to want Power of Infantries and Purifying Barrage. But because there's not much else that really works when you miss the enemy. Because like Precise Strike's not going to work on King and Ira whenever you miss. Precise Strike is for that guaranteed hit, like non-violent resistance, sniper, breakdown type deal, where you land that hit and you want all the damage you can get behind it. And then Power Shot will ramp, kind of like Quick Draw, just like lower level. You could technically do the whatever that last one is, super thermal bomb for the HP ignore as well. That would hit hard. Actually, you might want to do that one. That might be better than Power Shot, but it would be hard to say. You'd have to do testing. Generally
Okay.
speaking, you're going to want all of them at level 1 at least, though, and then go back to Precise Strike. Because once if you ever do get tier 12, Precise Strike's going to be huge for them because you're not going to be running King and Ira with tier 12.
Right.
So, like, Precise Strike is the by far best talent overall by itself, straight up. You're ignoring damage reduction. It's at level 5, it's the same as the formal lot. You get 10% damage reduction ignore, which is huge. It takes you from doing 0 damage to at least hitting someone when they run a broken fortress.
Right. Now I just have to get the HC again.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, I have a better direction of where I should go now.
Yeah. I mean, and we're not trying to say don't do what you kind of want to with your arc and everything like that, but you will find as being a more cheaper spender and somebody that's more free to play, that infantry will serve you a better purpose in the long run for sure.
Yeah, I mean, my goal wasn't, I want to use DS. My goal was I am trying to punish people with, with what I can afford to have.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, that's definitely some options you have to go with for sure. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you want to punish people like 100% and everything like that, I mean, a T10 infantry DS can hit pretty hard. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but you necessarily don't have to go that route if that's not something that you choose to. So, dude, I had some fun just now.
So, I mean, if I'm not doing DS, then, I mean, there's really...
I wouldn't waste the ether. I wouldn't waste the ether stuff on her, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no. Save them for, like, a Sister Wolf or a Hancock might come up. More use.
Yeah.
Or just for 45
And
bucks, that's what I do.
Hancocks do come up. They give chests now for all the faction commanders.
I got
Yeah,
my Sister Wolf ass class last time, and I'll get Hancock next time we have the ether with. And then other than that, I just get 45 bots, nanobots.
Like Hancock medals are available next ether chest.
Yeah.
I mean, next. Yeah. Any more questions, Garrett? Does it seem like you got a good direction on where you want to go?
Yeah, I feel like I was pretty much going in the right direction. I just had to. I just got to tweak a few
Yeah.
things, and I got to stop being lazy and start upgrading my gear.
Yeah.
And work on your gyms, man. Like that's one thing you want to do is everything. Like if you're building an attack set, you definitely want to maximize your damage output. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You don't want to just sit there and the crit gems aren't serving you. I hate to tell you this like this the way, but the crit gems don't serve you any fucking purpose. They really don't. Like it just doesn't. I don't personally feel like at all.
Yeah,
So
I can switch them. I just got to take the time to sit down and re-roll.
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, if there's no more things you want to do, I guess we can go ahead and conclude this session of Pimp My Ark and until next week, I guess, right?
Yeah, that works for me.